Good morning, everybody. Back out here to the big pond site. I'm going to work on trying to get this lower section right here cleaned up today. I got a burn pile going on right here, and I may do another one right here just so I don't have to move all that stuff. I'll just kind of see how it goes when I start stacking this up. I have all the tops out of all the trees from the loggers left, so I got plenty of brush to get the stumps burnt with. So that's my goal for this morning, get all this cleaned up and kind of organized, and then head back up there. As you can tell, that's still a mess up there, and get some more of that cleaned up and put into piles. Alright, I'm going to go ahead and stack some of these stumps up. I'm going to do a second burn pile right here, as the first one behind me is going to get too big. Grab these stumps. Brush I pushed up yesterday, just kind of stack that on top of it, get these stumps off the ground a little bit, that way as they burn they won't get smothered in ashes and not burn. It's just crazy how much groundwater is coming out of this hillside, and as you can tell, everything's just completely saturated right here. I went down over here and I grabbed all that stuff and brought it and made a pile right here, and I mean, look at it, it's just oozing out everywhere. So I started digging a trench right here. I'm going to dig a trench all the way up beside that brush pile. Maybe it'll get some of that groundwater to concentrate into that and dry out a little bit, because right now it is too wet to move dirt out here to start the pond. Just, the truck's not going to stay up, so trying to get the ground dried out, where once all this is done, start moving some dirt. But right now, that's not going to happen. That's literally just a grapple full of vines and a couple bushes. That should get the fire burning good though. Stumps and lay over and make a nice pile here. Look what I found. A balloon right there on the tree stump. See? That's two so far. Well, you know what'll really piss you off? is when there's a smear on the windshield and you just gently raise it up to wipe the wiper blade off, and the bottom windshield pulls out, falls out, hits the ground, hits the track, and breaks. All because I was trying to wipe the wiper blade off. Oh, I gotta love life. Gotta love it. Well, I can't say that I've ever really had that happen before. That just cost me about 300 bucks probably. I guess when I pulled the windshield up, somehow it stuck to it and it just lifted it right up, and these windshields just slide right in. So all it has to do is pop up about a ½ inch and it just like fell straight out, and you can still see the glass on the track right here where it hit. It's very easy to replace. You just got to get it tinted to match. Always something. I can't stand cracks, so that won't last too long. All right, so I got that pile piled up there with all the stumps. I laid a little of that brush over there on top of it, and then made a bigger one right here of all the stumps from that side. Got those laid over, and then took this pile of brush and laid on top of that, so the fire should be able to burn through that, and got what was left of those bushes and stuff that were still in the ground uprooted. So I'm gonna go around there. There's a few stumps over there I couldn't get, throw those over, and then stack that pile up right there. Then head off to the head section up there to see what I can do up there. It's still really wet. where Kevin almost got the cutter stuck. I'm digging all the sticks and everything out of the mud now. There was a lot of people that asked, why don't we just shove all the branches down in the ground and drive the skidder out there to get the wood? Well, quite frankly, this is why I didn't want to do that, because you know, I have to build a pond in here and then I have to dig all that crap back up. And do you know how hard it is to sort through that and get it to burn? Yeah, definitely worth my time to sit there like I did and with the grapple for a couple days and drag all the wood up there to where he could relatively easily grab it. So yeah, this is very, very wet up in here, as you can tell. So I am trying to get some ditches dug. I dug one over there. I was down there stumping and about got in a bad spot, but I'm trying to get that dug out where this has somewhere to drain to, just to kind of get it to dry out some. But this is where the head section of the pond's going to go. It might actually go a little bit farther up. Somewhere in here is where the pond's going to start. So that's a good spot for a pond there, knowing that, you know, if I have water coming out of the ground this far up the hill, that it should keep that full. We're pretty much limited by the height of the pond dam. We're going to get over our, we can't go over 25 feet. And if I go too much higher or try to back it up anymore, we're going to be over our height requirement that I have to stay under. And plus I think we just lose a lot of, I don't feel good about it going too much farther up there, as you know, we do get some dry spells and this is strictly spring fed and runoff, but definitely not a problem right now. But if we get into another very dry summer, this is definitely going to dry up. So I think the 3 acres that I'm shooting for is going to work out pretty good. Into with all the other stumps down there is, like, the more you pull and pry, the farther you sink down into the ground. So I know that that's very wet right there, so I've got to figure out how to come around. I may go over there and try to lay some more of that back towards that other burn pile, and it's just a mess. There ain't no other way to say it. It's a mess. But all in all, I am happy with the progress made. I just wish that it was drier so I could use the dozers more, as they are more efficient for pushing brush and stumps to the burn piles. But it's not very efficient when you spend half the time getting the dozer unstuck. But now I know the limitations of the D6. And it stops before I get to where I'm at right now. Alright, so this stuff's just a lot of mud, so I'm going to lay it at the bottom of the pile, and that'll give it time to dry out some more. Hopefully this weekend I can come over here and maybe set some of these on fire. There's a chance of rain Saturday. Just have to wait and see. I mean, like I said yesterday, I could probably burn these out here in the field, no problem, being out in the open, but we had like a 25-30 mile an hour wind yesterday, so that was a little bit extreme to be trying to burn. Plus, they need a little more time to dry out. The more they dry out, the faster they burn up. Less time I have to spend messing with it. Just trying to flatten out my track rut marks so that they don't become mini ponds. And then like right here, I'm going to kind of dig this back a little bit. Maybe that will drain. There's like a layer of clay down here that it just hits and it just saturates all the dirt on top of it, turns it into liquid mud. So if I just kind of get everything in a main ditch opened up down there, it should just kind of slowly wick out the ground and dry out some. All this has got to get cut out and then filled in. The edges of this field up here is the plan, so I got to get it dry enough to work with. Hopefully this works. I don't have a problem. I'm going to dig a ditch through this swampy area and try to get it drained down some, or maybe I can do something with it. There's just so many springs come out of this hillside right here, and it's got nowhere to go. So I'm going to dig a ditch and just make some piles over here of mud. Oh boy, I'm sinking. If I can't get this to drain down some, it's just, when you see it, it's just pure liquid sand. Draining the swampy area. That's what we'll call this video, Draining the Swamp. Uh-oh. We're not moving. Dig a ditch in this stuff as it just collapses back in on itself. So it's not going to be very pretty. As long as it's a channel, it should help pull all that moisture out of the ground. Couple little wing ditches here to get that to flow over here into it. Fast here. Oh, wrong way. Just try to pile this mud up in little piles so that it can dry out. and not dam up any more areas. See if I can set the camera up outside now. Well, I don't see how that can do anything but help the situation. Gives that a place to drain to now. I don't remember where the pond comes to. I want to say it starts somewhere in here. So yeah, if we can cut a better ditch up through there once it dries out a little bit more and kind of get this more concentrated to one little area, I think it'll dry this ground out. We're trying to make all this be usable, but as you can tell, it is currently not usable. That's good for the pond though. It's got good source of water. I got some of my ditch dug, as you saw, and made my way back up here to the head section. I've been trying to avoid this, which I probably should have done it sooner, because this stuff needs as much time to dry out as possible. But now's the time to get up here. I did want it to kind of dry out some up here, and I don't know if it has or not, but I'm trying to work my way, sitting on top of stumps, to get out here and get these dug up. That way they can go in the burn pile and be burned up. And then this is just going to have to sit until it dries out. I may extend my ditch up a little farther and get some of this, talk with the owner and kind of see what all he wants to do. It may be best to kind of leave a more permanent ditch in there to get this to drain. At least he'll have somewhere to go. I think that's the problem. I mean, it tapers pretty good, but it's just so flat in here, it's really got nowhere to go to. See that it's just as sandy as it could be. Dig that stump up, because I'm probably going to sink it pretty good. I still got one more over here too. Luckily these trees are pretty shallow rooted. It's just soup. this could dry out some. I'd leave it well enough alone, but I got to get all this stuff burnt. That wheat is already starting to kind of yellow up a little bit. I got to get all this stuff burnt before that dries out, because it might be a month before they cut it, and then I can't do nothing for a month. I'm not brave enough to burn these brush piles surrounded by acres and acres of wheat. I feel like that would make a viral video of how things went wrong. See if I can get the rest of this stuff transferred over and out of here. Wet. Well, I think that was the very last stump. Everything is dug up here. It is a absolute wet mess, as I have shown and explained. Not exactly sure what we're gonna do. Hopefully it'll, I mean, we have had like 8 inches of rain in the past 2 weeks, so I'm hoping that it just kind of keeps draining out. I mean, I don't think it was near this wet earlier in the year, but yeah, definitely not going to be able to do anything with a bulldozer on top of this, which is going to make this really hard to rake out and clean up unless I dig another ditch up here. So I'll just have to see, but my main goal was to get all the stumps dug up and over there. I got to transfer all that down to that burn pile, but at least they are now out of the ground and can dry out some. And if it rains Saturday, I'm gonna start doing some burning. Till then.